Hey guys, it's Katie here with Life Mundane and welcome back to my channel. I recently did a video on 10 tips for helping you with homeschooling your kids with ADHD, and today I wanted to do a follow-up video to that on 10 tips to help you if you have ADHD and you are homeschooling your kids. There are a lot of challenges that can come with that, and today I'm hoping that these tips can really help you to kind of harness those powers and to make the most of the little moments in your homeschool. So let's get started. Hi, my name is Katie and welcome to Life in the Mundane. I am a second generation homeschool mom of 6 beautiful kiddos, and on this channel we talk all things resources. I love to share with you resources that are going to help you in your homeschooling and help encourage you in your biblical parenting and how you can utilize those to their fullest potential so that you can make the most of the little moments. Tip number 1 you may recognize from the kids video, and that is to have a brain dumping book next to you at all times. Now this could be your phone, although we'll get to why that might not be the best idea here in just a second, but having a notebook, a piece of paper, something available to you that you can carry around with you as you're doing your school with your children can be really, really helpful. Anytime something comes into your head, you can write this down. I find this super helpful, especially when it comes to school tasks. I will notice a child is struggling with a particular thing, or maybe they have an online program and the login is not working. Instead of spending 45 minutes and derailing my whole homeschool day to try and figure out what the password is for this and getting very distracted by this new task, I will just write down at the end of the school day, figure out what the password is. And I'll write that down and I'll leave it, and then I can do that and it'll be ready for the next day. It has really helped me to save a lot of time and keep me focused on what needs to get done instead of getting distracted by all those little tiny fires that pop up all throughout the day. The second thing is having a schedule or a checklist to work off of for your day. It really helps me to keep focused. Mine looks a lot different than my kids. I actually have a grid sheet of Monday through Friday, and every single child, under each child is listed every single subject that they do. Now, we don't do all the subjects every day, so it's okay that I don't end up getting to every subject, but just seeing visually what has been done or has not been done for the day can be helpful. I've tried before doing reverse lesson planning, and having to sit down and write out each of those things every day does not get done. Ever. So what I decided to do is have this typed out, something I can print out, and I can print out several sheets at a time. I can even bind it if I want to in the future. And all I have to do is highlight when we finish something. I don't have to write down what page number. I don't have to do any of that, but just simply highlighting. We did math. I did math with Christopher today. Oh, I did this with my other child today. That helps me to have a quick visual of what we've gotten done. It kind of works as a good reward for my brain of saying, okay, we've gotten this much done. And if I'm choosing not to do something, it's an actual choice that I'm making. Hey, grammar only needs to be done 3 days a week, so I'm choosing not to do it today, instead of I got distracted by everything else going on and I forgot. Number 3 is really important, and that is having a whole list of quick, easy lunches and snacks for you as a mom. I know one of my biggest struggles with homeschooling as a person with ADHD is that I get really distracted, I get really zoned into what I'm doing, and I'm working with each of the kids, and all of a sudden we finished up our school day and I'm feeling very accomplished and realizing I haven't eaten anything at all, and it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That doesn't do well for anybody. I get crankier, I'm tired, I don't feel good. It's not good for my body overall. So trying to start out the day with like a breakfast, even if you're not a breakfast person, even just a good hearty snack first thing in the morning, and then having quick and easy things that you can grab along the way. If you're a salad person, do a salad in a jar or in a container that's quick and easy. You can just pull it out and eat it. There's zero prep work, because I find if I have to stop and make a meal or stop and prep something, I'm less likely to eat. Number 4 is I love to pedal during read alouds. Okay, so I got this little desk elliptical. I got it off of Facebook Marketplace. You can buy them brand new, and I will leave a link down below where you guys can find them. And it has been a huge lifesaver. As I'm doing read alouds, as I'm doing a lot of reading, I can sit there and pedal and get a workout in and get some movement in while I'm sitting down and reading. It helps me to not only be able to focus better, but I've even found when I'm reading for my own personal interests or my own personal things, I actually can understand better because I have that movement coming in, and it's not terribly distracting to the kids. Number 5 is fidgets. Now, I know I mentioned this in the kids video, and I know you're probably going, but I'm an adult. Well, one, fidgets can be incredibly helpful, but my favorite fidget is actually a fidget ring that I got for my husband for Christmas. I got in a set of 3 of them for him, and I've ended up commandeering one of them for myself. And it's simply a ring you can put on your finger and you just twist the middle. It's very quiet, it's very discreet, it's not distracting distracting to my kids who have ADHD, but I'm able, as I'm sitting there and I'm doing lessons with them and I have to sit and I have to listen to a lot of beginning readers, which can be very challenging, I can sit there and I can just twist that, and that helps me to stay focused and keep me from fidgeting too much, which can be distraction to them. Next step is to make sure that everything in your homeschool has a home. You can see how I've organized my homeschool space in the video up in the iCards above and down in the description below, but it doesn't really matter how you do it. It just matters that everything has a home. Have a place where all of your teacher books go. Have a place where all of your student materials go. This really does help cut down on those distractions and help cuts down on things being lost. It can be very hard as someone with ADHD to provide structure. However, I find that once you find a routine and a system that you will actually implement, that's a very key thing there, you will actually help things to run smoother and you'll have less items getting lost. I really try to keep it cut down to one place so that I am not constantly trying to guess where was the last place I left it, because that's a very dangerous game when you have ADHD. Next up is having certain anchors to your day or to your week. So what I have found is with having ADHD, I crave structure. I thrive under structure. However, I'm not so great at creating my own structure. It's just something that it's very easy to get distracted, to get off topic, to go to different directions. And so I find that having certain anchors to my day or certain anchors to my week that don't allow for any kind of wiggle room can be very, very helpful. So for us, we have our anchors to our day. We have morning basket time that we always have. We have quiet time where my kids lay down for an hour, even if they don't sleep. And we have like our dinner time. Those are our kind of three anchors. We don't not do those things in a day. It can be different for you, but just having those can be really helpful. But even then, those are a little bit dependent on me. Maybe not dinner, because my kids are not gonna let me forget that, but we have those things that are a little bit more dependent on me. And so having anchors outside of the home can be really helpful too. So I, for a long time, felt like I was getting distracted very easily. And so I tried kind of wiping my calendar completely clean, or even during COVID, when everything was canceled and I was home alone, and I found I got a lot less done during that time period than I did when I had my typical schedule. And part of that was I needed that structure. I needed that pressure, and I needed those deadlines to get things done. So having something, if you are struggling with getting your normal schoolwork done, be careful, don't overcommit, but if you do have ADHD, sometimes having something at the end of the day that you need to have this done before that point can be really helpful. So for us, we have speech therapy one day, we have a library day one day that we go to library, we have Bible study one day, we have all sorts of things, these just kind of anchors, co-op or something. Having those anchors throughout the week of being like, oh, well, we've got to get this done before that can be really helpful. Another example of this is that for science, I very rarely get to our science experiments. So years ago, I started meeting with another mom. We do the same Apologia science curriculum, and we meet together every 2 weeks to do the science experiments for that lesson. This has been incredibly helpful because without that anchor there, without that accountability there, I would never get my science done. I'm not kidding. I really would not. And so with this, I'm like, oh, we're meeting. There are some days where it's kind of rough because I haven't read anything in the lesson that's supposed to take 2 weeks to read, and I have to read a whole lesson in one day, and that's really hard. But having those anchors keeps us on track, and having those days where I have to keep myself accountable, I have to get it done, teaches me to plan out a little bit better in the future. Is don't be afraid to move your school around. I highly recommend not sitting just at the table, although we do have certain subjects that are done at the table, and moving around with your kids. So working a little bit at the couch, working a little bit at the table, maybe taking lessons outside, but having that opportunity to kind of move around your home and to do things in different situations and different rooms can really be helpful. Number 9 is watch out for those phones. You know how earlier I said you need a brain dumping space and it probably should be a notebook and probably not your phone? Well, the reason is I found recently that very much so we all can get sucked into our phones. We all can get distracted by our phones. That's a universal thing. But especially for those of us with ADHD, the colors are bright. There's a lot of things to stimulate your brain as you're scrolling through social media or other things. And I found 2 things. One, I use my phone as a fidget. So a lot of times when I am struggling to focus on like my kids reading or something like that, I'm just sitting there scrolling. I'm not paying attention to anything I'm actually scrolling through. I'm just literally using it as a fidget to do this with. So replacing that with physical fidgets can be helpful. The other thing though, like I said, is it's easy to get sucked in and distracted by other things, even more so than normal. So try to keep your phone off of you as much as possible during school when you do have your phone on you. There is a setting you can go in, at least on iPhones. I believe you can also do it on Androids, and you can actually turn your whole phone to black and white. This helps reduce the level of stimulation. It makes it a little less appealing. I don't like to leave it like that all the time, but during the school day, it makes it where I'm only grabbing my phone to actually do things that need to be done instead of getting sucked into social media. Because looking through pictures on Instagram or videos on Instagram in black and white, it's not nearly as fun as in color. So beware of the phone, beware of that. But if you are going to have it near you or on you at all, maybe try and turn it to black and white during the school hours. And number 10, finally, is to use timers. Timers are your best friend. Timers and alarms to help you remember to do certain things, like those anchors that you're putting throughout your day. Oh, it's 1 o'clock, it's time for quiet time. No matter what we're doing, we stop that, we go do that, and we'll return back to whatever we were doing when that is completed. Or having timers when you have tasks that you are not wanting to do. So maybe you really dislike teaching science or math to your children. And so you're gonna set a timer and say, look, we don't have to get through a whole lesson. That can feel really overwhelming. We're going to do 10 minutes of this subject. First of all, you'll be shocked and surprised how much you can get done in 10 minutes time. But also a lot of times I find that you get that momentum going. And so you may do it for 10 minutes and go, oh, well, we only have like 2 more paragraphs before we finish the chapter. So let's finish the chapter. Having those timers and those schedules, having those things to help remind you can be hugely, hugely helpful. And if you're wondering, how do I do that when you said not to have your phone on you? Don't worry, there are cheap little Amazon timers you can get. I will link my favorite down below. Or if you have an Alexa device, you can use that as well. I hope this has been helpful. Be sure to check out my 10 tips for homeschooling your child with ADHD, as well as my other videos, and we'll talk to you guys next time. Bye!